how it will play a vital role in upcoming SIFI's journey, wherein we will be going ahead with mostly SD-WAN deployments for our managed customers. So as part of this video, we would be covering sections on what is SD-WAN, what are the components involved in SD-WAN, and what are the, on a high level, we're going to also discuss how the protocols work, what kind of protocols are used in the SD-WAN communication. In addition, I'm going to show you how do we configure a box, that is a new SD-WAN CPE which is shipped to the customer, and how do we discover that into the SIFI SD-WAN ecosystem, and the steps involved in configuring the same. So we call it as zero touch provisioning, that is ZTP process of onboarding the appliance. So we're just going to cover that in much more detail. So let's begin on understanding how the SD-WAN works today, right? So let me give a high level on what is SD-WAN, right? So SD-WAN is a branch of SDN, which is a higher level orchestration service. So we are just getting the value add out of it, wherein we are deploying SD-WAN. So which is basically programming your edge devices to be able to be agnostic for your underlay. So when I say underlay, it is nothing but support for hybrid WAN networks, which includes MPLS, internet, broadband, LTE, right? So as we are seeing growing traction in the market with more and more customers coming in and requesting for alternate to MPLS. So that is the generic market pitch that we see today. So to accommodate that and be in the front end, to be leading those customer engagements, we need a solution which is capable of handling hybrid WAN deployment, right? So in our traditional environment of Cisco and HP routers, there are a lot of challenges. So we're going to see how SD-WAN is going to mitigate that. So the second condition which customers usually come up with is I need a secure transport for my underlay connection. So my data traffic should be secured. It should be protected from outside world if I'm putting it on internet. So that is a basic customer ask. And customers' main challenge is maintaining a configuration standard across the sites, right? So SD-WAN is going to mitigate that, and SD-WAN is going to offer the customer a centralized orchestration plane wherein customer can configure, manage, and as well as get reports from the edge devices. Okay, so this is about the SD-WAN, on why we choose SD-WAN, which is far simple, right? So we need a flexible way of delivering our managed CP services, right? So let's just quickly jump into what components are there in SD-WAN, right? So as part of Versa's SD-WAN, we have the following components, which is director, which is used for orchestration. We have the controller, which is used for management and control plane to all the appliances, and analytics. So analytics is more like a reporting platform wherein all the edge devices try to send the collected data, right? So when we say data, what are the data? The data is nothing but what type of applications are detected on the edge device. What is my interface utilization? What is my system uptime? What is my CPU memory utilization? So all this information is captured and sent to the analytics. Okay, so let me just run through on what are the functionalities of the director, right? So a director is a multi-tenant platform. When we say multi-tenant, which means that as part of managed offering, we are going to offer, as part of the single deployment, we're going to onboard multiple customers and they're going to have a dedicated user space, right? So, and the director's functionality is to discover the appliance, manage the appliance, and as well as give live monitoring stats. So that is the functionality of the director. And director also holds a configuration backup of all the appliances deployed, which means there no need of additional configuration backup needs to be taken for the edge devices, right? Versa Analytics, which is basically the reporting platform, as I mentioned, and it captures the data collected from the appliance, which is basically health monitoring, interface, application, and also there is we use SLA concept, right? So there is a full mesh of SLA which captures latency, jitter, and loss between the appliances. So that is captured from the CPE and sent to the analytics, right? So next is a main piece of the puzzle, right? So it's Versa controller. So Versa controller is similar to our core route reflector, right? So what does a route reflector do? A route reflector has multiple IBGP peerings with the provider edge routers, which is basically our ISR 9K routers, right? So and it's gonna maintain a MP BGP session. So we are gonna maintain a L3 VPN peering, VPN v4 peering with our RR, right? So similarly, it's gonna maintain the same with the edge devices. And also, it maintains a secure IPsec connection between the edge device. So what happens is, whenever there's a control traffic or the data collected from the appliance, which is sent to the analytics, is all secure. So customer can be rest assured that the data which is collected and taken to our network is secure. Right? So that's why we call it as a gateway between control components and Flex VNF. So all the control components, which is director and analytics, communicate via the control controller to the edge devices. So they do not directly communicate with the edge device. So just imagine controller as a edge firewall, right? So wherein all the communication only happens on the firewall before going to the backend devices. So similarly, all the communication happens only to the controller, and controller gives that info to the director and analytics separately. Okay, so I just have a schematic on how does it work, right? So this is I'm calling it as a hybrid network because it is transport agnostic, so which implies that it can be either MPLS, internet, 4G, or any third-party MPLS as well. Okay, so now towards my left I have the data center deployed, and towards my right I have the spoke, which is the branch deployed, right? So as you can see in the depiction, the SD-WAN controller maintains the MP BGP between the CPEs till the controller, right? And so that is the overlay protocol which it's going to maintain. And the first layer, it's going to be IPsec. So an MP BGP is built on top of that IPsec, okay? And what is the data collected? What is the protocol used for collecting the data from the appliance to the analytics? So that is called as IPfix. So IPfix is, what is IPfix, right? So IPfix is an equivalent variant of netconf version 9, wherein you can capture more information from the edge device and send it to the NMS, right? So similar way, IPfix is an open standard protocol and that is a protocol which is used here for data collection from the appliance, right? And for the director maintains a netconf session with all the deployed edge devices to understand whether the device is up or down, right? Whether the CPE is reachable or not. And it also collects few more details using netconf. So netconf is basically runs on top of a protocol called as RPC. So basically all the netconf session from the director happens over secure IPsec from the controller to the edge device. And yeah, so you can Google out to read much more on netconf and its functionalities. Okay, so this is on a high level. We discussed what are the SD-WAN components and how do they function. So let me just jump and tell you and show you how to configure the SD-WAN appliance. Okay. So this is our demo dashboard with the URL msdwan.sifi.net. So as part of this demo, I'm going to show you how to onboard an appliance, right? So this is a SD-WAN appliance deployed at the customer premise. So this is just, it doesn't have any configuration. Okay. As you can see, there is no configuration on this box. So I'm just going to show you how we go ahead and do the ZTP process and discover this appliance on the director. Okay. So as part of the first step, right, everyone has to onboard a customer organization. So basically, it is basically the legal entity name, right? For example, you're onboarding a bank. Right, so it can be SBI Bank, right? You do not write it as SBI Private Limited. You just write it as SBI. The significance of global organization ID should be unique, which means every customer should have a unique global VRF ID, global organization ID, and you should mention what is the parent org. So as part of this, the parent is SIFI, so it is going to be SIFI, is the parent organization. And once you select the SIFI parent, it's going to show you what all controllers are part of the organization. So I'm just going to add SIFI controller A, B, and POC controller as part of this. And next, you're going to select an analytics cluster for this. So there is already a predefined analytics cluster, which is called as analytics cluster A, which basically gives the CPE info on which IP to send all the IPFix traffic. Next, you select the routing instance. So by default, for every organization, there is an LAN VR created. Okay, so just make sure that you have this here. And next is a supported user roles. So supported user role is nothing but once you deploy the device, you hand over the reporting thing to the customer, right? So before doing that, you need to give a tenant user level access, right? So if you select it here, you do not go ahead and do the additional changes once the organization is deployed. So it's always advisable to add all these user roles to the added list. So once you're done, go ahead and deploy it. Okay, so it's showing me that SBI added successfully, and I can check the task to see if the organization is created. So this is the task. It shows you what is the status of your task and whether the task is completed or it has failed. Okay, so it shows that it added the configuration. It means it has configured the SBI name in the following controllers. Okay, and now it's updating the RBAC rules. So it basically takes a while in the lab setup that we have, but it's usually much more faster in the production setup. So as you can see, it's around like close to 30 seconds. We have deployed the company on the director. So the next step is you associate a template to it, right? So what is a template? A template is nothing but what is the final configuration the site should have, right? Which means customer purchases active backup MPLS links from SIFI, right? So these are the links, right? So which means on a single CPE, customer is going to get 2 links. Now you're going to decide whether the link is going to have protocol, whether it's going to have a BGP as a protocol or it's just going to do with static. So all these kinds of configuration are the final configuration which will go into the appliance, right? So you go ahead and configure that in the template. So you go ahead and configure the template. So we configure the template with a template convention. So that is T_SBI 1 MPLS 1 internet HO. So HO is head office template, and RO is regional office, and SPK is basically the spoke, right? And the SD-WAN template type is post staging. You're going to select your appliance here. You're going to select your organization here. Your organization is SBI. You add your controllers to the template. So as part of standard deployment, you only configure 2 controllers, so which is going to be Mumbai and Chennai controllers. So apart from that, it's as part of this training, I'm covering 3 controllers. Okay, and next selection you should do is the solution tier. So SD-WAN has various solution tiers. So we have bronze, silver, gold, and diamond. Okay, so these are the license tiers we are offering the customer. So bronze is base SD-WAN, silver is standard SD-WAN, gold is advanced SD-WAN, and diamond is advanced secure SD-WAN. Okay, and as next part of it, as part of standard deployment, head office template, and RO is regional office, and SPK is basically the spoke, right? And the SD-WAN template type is post staging. You're going to select your appliance here. You're going to select your organization here. Your organization is SBI. You add your controllers to the template. So as part of standard deployment, you only configure 2 controllers, so which is going to be Mumbai and Chennai controllers. So apart from that, it's as part of this training, I'm covering 3 controllers. Okay, and next selection you should do is the solution tier. So SD-WAN has various solution tiers. So we have bronze, silver, gold, and diamond. Okay, so these are the license tiers we are offering the customer. So bronze is base SD-WAN, silver is standard SD-WAN, gold is advanced SD-WAN, and diamond is advanced secure SD-WAN. Okay, and as next part of it, you're going to say what is your aggregate bandwidth on this box. So for example, customer is going to buy active backup MPLS from you, so you're just going to say it's a 5 MB MPLS link. If it's going to be active, it's going to be 5 plus 5, right? So you're going to say the service bandwidth is going to be 10 MB. Okay, then you select the knob analytics enabled. Go ahead and select your analytics cluster and click on next. Now here you select what is the WAN link and what is your LAN link, right? So your WAN is your links which is facing towards the provider edge, and LAN is the port which is going to face the customer core router, core switch, or L2 LAN. Okay, so you're going to once you click left click on it, you're going to see these options. You go ahead and select the blue one. So I'm just considering 2 MPLS links, or I'll say that I'll consider 1 MPLS 1 internet and 1 port for LAN. Okay, so if you see, the naming convention is VNI 0/0 for first port and 0/1, and the LAN is 0/2, right? Now you select what is your network name. So there is already a list of predefined network names. If it isn't already there, you can also create a custom name, but please make sure that if you want to create a custom name, to check with engineering whether it's valid. The next part is you're going to add what is the network name. So I'm going to add it as NSP1. I'm going to say priority 1. and I'm going to say network name as NSP2, priority as 1. Right? And if I have a static IP to be defined, I select static. And next I'll move on to the LAN. So LAN is basically what is the LAN interface name you want to give, right? So as part of our deployment, we give it as LAN only, right? And you select what is the organization name. Although it is just going to be one, you need to select it, and it will automatically populate the name as SBI LAN VR. And the LAN VR name is also going to be static. So just select that and click on continue. Now over here, if you have BGP on your WAN links, right? So you're going to select, for example, I'm just going to say 64515, and my neighbor IP is .1.1.10, and my peer AS is, say, for example, 4755. I want to enable BFD. I just select this knob, click on add. Okay. Next one, I go ahead and select NSP2. Okay, so it's going to be 2.2.2.10. peer AS is 4755. I enable BFD, click on OK. Right. If you have OSPF, you select OSPF, but usually we do not support, we do not recommend going ahead with OSPF on the WAN links. You can also create static routes here. So if you have static routes, if the customer says I have 3 to 4 static routes in my LAN, right? You go ahead and select this field, enable static route. You can also give it as a variable, because if you want to reuse this template for multiple customers, you might think about adding a variable. If this template belongs to only one CPE, which means we define the template based on network types, right? Which means if a customer has 40 sites, right? Out of 40 sites, there are 10 sites which have MPLS plus internet, and there are 10 sites and the remaining sites are MPLS plus internet. You define 2 templates, right? You do not define one template for all network types, because that violates the template concept, because we group the sites based on network types. Okay, so as part of that, always ensure that when you define a template, it is based on network type. So when a customer says I have 2 MPLS, define one template. And when a customer says I have 1 MPLS, 1 internet on specific sites, create a different template. So once you've defined all this, you click on continue. Right. So here we have a concept called a split tunneling. So the people who are familiar with the terminology of split tunneling, it's so when you have a tunnel deployed and at the same time you want to do a local internet breakout, you define a split tunneling. Okay. So to configure split tunneling, you select what is your LAN VR and what is your WAN VR. So if the customer has 1 MPLS and 1 internet, you select the WAN interface name which belongs to the internet. Okay, so I'm just selecting NSP2 for this case, and I select the option DIA, which is direct internet access. Okay. If the customer has 2 internet links, okay, I select NSP1 as well and select DIA and add. Now you also select the option as load balance, so that when the traffic from the LAN is going towards the WAN, which is basically the public internet, it is load balancing. Okay, and then I click continue. And if customer has inbound NAT policies defined, you can define it in this template, or you can also define it once a template is created. This is not the so this is just to automate the work you do, right? So services, if customer wants a DHCP service on his LAN, you go ahead and define that for him. Okay, if a customer has a relay, you define it, or you can just simply jump. And so if customer wants to have a SNMP server defined so that he can poll the router, you can configure it here, but consult with engineering before. Last step, you click on create. Okay, so now the template is created. How do you check what is the template that you have created? You click on configuration, go to the organization that you have created, which is SBI, and here you see the template which you have created. So click on the template, you will see what is the final configuration that you see. So now you have seen that there are 2 WAN links, which is NSP1 and NSP2, and there is a LAN link as well, right? So now the next step is going to be you're going to onboard the appliance, right? So as part of this, I've already created the configuration that is already done here and created a workflow for the device under the template name, under the organization name NESG. Okay, so yeah, so this is how I do it. You define the site name. So I've defined the site name as NESG Spoke Site Lab. This has to be unique. So this part is taken care by the CPE team while deploying. You define what is the serial number of the appliance. So the standard serial number format is going to be like KSA and the remaining are numbers. But as part of this training video, we're going to use the serial number as CPE-demo. So the significance of device group is, as I told earlier, if you have out of 40 sites, 10 sites on MPLS, and remaining sites on MPLS and internet, you define them in different device groups and associate the templates with them accordingly, so that all the devices can be grouped into a device group name and as well as a different template name. So as part of this, device group concept came in. Okay. Next, you go ahead and feed the customer's address. So this is basically the site address. If this SBI branch is in Chennai, you feed the Chennai address. If it's in somewhere else across India, you feed that address. Then you click on next. Okay, over here, I'm going to fill the variable data, right? So what is the IP of NSP1? What is the IP of NSP3? And what is the LAN IP? Okay. In addition, I'm also going to fill what is the next hop IP address of NSP1 and NSP3. Okay. And then I'm going to click on deploy. So it's already deployed. So I'm just going to redeploy it. Okay. So it's giving me a pop-up that device has been successfully deployed. Okay. So this is the configuration changes which has to be done on the appliance, right? Now, what are the changes that has to be done on the CPE? Okay. For that, I have to jump into the CPE, right? So this is a standard CPE with, as you can see, the specifications of this box. It is a 4-core CPU with 4 NICs and 8 GB RAM. And it is deployed on a VM because as part of this training, we are doing it in a VM platform. Okay. Now, for ZTP, you just need a script. Yeah. So next step is to run the script on the edge device to make sure that there is minimalistic configuration available on the CPE to get discovered onto the director. So that's part of the site discovery process, right? So as part of this, we have to paste this script on the CPE. So let me explain what is the script. So you're going to select the path, which is /opt/versa scripts staging.py and staging-l. And you're going to say, what is a branch local key? So you're going to say, what is a branch local key and what is the controller's key? Okay. And you're going to say, what is the controller's IP address and what is your source IP address and the gateway for your source WAN link. So as part of NSP1, my NSP1 WAN link 1 IP is 10.3.3.14 and the gateway is .13. And I'm also going to say this IP belongs to which WAN interface. So -w space 0 defines WAN link 1, -w space 1 defines WAN link 2, which is NSP1 or NSP2. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this config, go to paste it in the shell mode of the appliance and click on enter. And I'm going to enter the password. Okay. So it is going to run the script and deploy the configuration which is required for the site to be discovered by the director. So we have done all the changes on the director. So let's wait and see if this site is coming up for discovery. So as you can see, as we have run the script, the site has come up for a onboarding and the site has been successfully onboarded. So now, as you can see that the final template has been pushed to the appliance and the CPE is rebooting. So once the CPE is rebooted, it will come up with a final configuration that is required. So this concludes the zero touch provisioning process for onboarding an appliance. Thank you.